Okay. Oh,
All right, it is not 6:30, so never mind.
hi Denise, it's Miles. How are you? Alright, I'm gonna put you on speaker.
Hello Denise.
Hello?
Hello, we're gonna get started right now.
Okay.
All right, so it is 6:30, we'll call to order the April 1st meeting of the Rollinsford Select Board. First order of business is the approval of minutes. We're going to table the minutes for March 18th. There's some adjustments apparently that need to be made. Are we good with March 25th?
Yep.
All right, by consensus, March 25th is adopted. Is there any community input? Are you here to
Yeah.
get something from the select board, sir? or-
So we put on a race on the Scoutland every year,
Uh-huh.
and every year I just come in and let you guys know that we're doing that on April 27th.
Yep.
and
Have you coordinated with the conservation district? Did
This,
we figure out that we need to do that?
If we haven't, it's a good idea to make sure it's consistent with the management plan.
Right, I think we discovered last year after your raise, there were some complaints about signs being left and garbage and things like that.
no
And
garbage, it was signs that we had left up because the Scoutmaster had told us we could leave them, but Mr. Vermette said we couldn't, so I talked to Mr. Vermette and we've been in communication with it, and that's fine.
Out of that, we found out though that you need to go to the conservation district as well because they manage the uses of that property. So you
Okay.
get approval from them and then you have to come back here.
So the Trail Master isn't the head of that?
Now, the trail master has nothing to do with our town. He's a volunteer with a group that's out of Rochester, I think, that sort of just
Okay.
manages part of the trails for an ATV club that we allow to use the property. But yeah, you would need to go to the conservation commission. Do we know when they're meeting next?
They're Tuesday nights at the library, and I think it's the fourth Tuesday of the month.
No, I
But
think it's the second Tuesday.
second Tuesday, thank you.
Anyway, is it in here? That might be helpful.
I think it's gonna be April 12th or something like
Let's
that.
see. So, we would need you to go there because we need to follow the protocol that apparently has been in existence for decades, since the management plan was adopted, but we didn't know it, so
Okay.
I apologize for that, I do. It does not say when they meet on.
If you want to give me your email address, I will confirm for you and
Yeah.
send you an email.
Yep, so it's Tom at six03endurance.com.
I thought they listed it here. Oh, here it is.
SIX03,
Endurance.com.
okay.
So unless it's changed, Tom, it says Conservation Commission meets on the third Thursday of the month at 6:30.
Third,
It may have changed, so Caroline
That
will
is,
confirm.
yeah, I think that's changed, so I will
Okay.
send you a confirmation email so that you know for sure.
Okay, anything else that you, from last year that,
That was it, there
Okay,
were
yeah.
complaints about that, if I
Yep.
recall.
Yep.
So that's been addressed with, the only person that owns any other property down there besides the town is Mr. Vermette.
yeah,
I guess you've already talked to him. and-
yeah, so his brother and wife actually run with 603, so it was easy to contact him and he understood and he was
Okay.
fine with it. It was just the or the trail master said, can you please leave those up? So we did, and then it became an issue, so we just went back and took them down and it wasn't an issue anymore.
All right. Well, like I said, so as soon as you hear from or meet with the Conservation Commission, just come, they'll let us know what they said. You can come back and if we need to sign anything, or, you may not have to come back. It could just be us saying it's fine at a meeting and we'll let you know too, so.
Perfect.
It may also be
May I point out
worth,
something?
Yeah.
I just want to say something. I think.
Are you on the Conservation Commission?
I
already?
am,
Okay,
and
go ahead.
last year, I just want to mention Lorraine Hanson, 11 Weston Lane. The reason that there was an issue, and it's apparently, while we manage the property, the people who actually tell us how we have to manage it is Southeast
They hold,
Land
do they
Trust.
hold the lease,
the easement.
the easement, okay, good.
Right,
All right.
And there was a question about whether,
Certain parcels of it, I think they have.
whether certain groups that are not nonprofit can use it. I think that was an issue that came up, but I don't recall.
I don't
We will
remember.
address it at the Conservation Committee meeting, but I do know that that was, we heard from SELT that we,
I just know to sell on Tuesday, so I can ask her, that's fine, that's easy.
right.
Yeah.
We want to talk with the people at SELT
Yeah.
and let them know, but then they have to tell us and then we get.
That's what, thank you, Lorraine saved me for myself, so that was it. I knew there was the bylaws
Yep.
that we weren't meeting. It was the CELT, the folks that were holding the easement, so.
That's great, yeah, I mean, I put on 7 races for sale, so that's perfect.
I'm just saying that those, I
Yeah.
think that was part of the issue, so that's, if you want to talk to SELT and then to our committee.
Perfect, that's great.
I was
You might
curious
also
that-
get in touch with our police department to make sure you've got traffic
Yeah,
control
all of
figured
that,
out.
yep. I just left the fire department and police department's always in.
All right. First step though is gonna be Conservation Commission, because if
Yeah.
they say, or CELT says, no, you can't have the race, I guess it's pointless to talk to the fire and police, so.
Yeah.
But, okay, so we'll find out when the
And
next
I'll
meeting
send you-
is and get you on the agenda, then how's that?
Perfect, thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you.
Yeah, have a good
Have a
day.
good night. Any other community input for tonight? All right, are you here for, no, okay.
So,
Thank you for reminding me of why that was. I knew it was more than just garbage, but, okay. Moving on then. Department head business, fire is not here yet, all right, I don't see him. All right, highway, come on up, George. No, why?
Be here a long time.
Okay, come on up, chief, you been here for a long time too?
No,
Okay,
I'm trying to run tonight.
okay. Can you hear everything okay, Denise? I'm sorry.
I can.
All right, I'm gonna try to remember to say, Denise, do you have any questions? Because I know it's hard to be on the phone, so.
Okay.
Okay, the first one, I have 3 forms here that needs the chair's signature for Malatek to go to Police Academy. The first is the application for enrollment at the academy. The second one is the Form A, just indicating that we've done a background check. He attests to be a citizen of the United States and all that good stuff. And likewise for Form I, background investigation is completed.
Is there any objection to me signing these?
No.
All right. Sounds like my house. Actually, it's quieter than mine. Says no stamp if you allow, I'm not neither if you let me stamp it. True. You can actually read it.
Okay, purchase order number 1574 to Stratford County. We received the yearly assessment invoice from Stratford County as $5,018.61.
I'll move purchase order 1574 to Stratford County for $5,018.61 for dispatch assessment.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Denise, do you have any questions or any?
No, I'm all set.
Okay. Also, Miles?
Yeah, I'll second.
Purchase order 1574 has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Out of practice for a week.
Purchase order number 1575 to Ben's Uniforms. The following uniform items are for our new officer Malatek: a gray uniform shirt, a high gloss belt, OC case, a pair of standard traffic gloves, 1 knit hat, and 2 pairs of RPD collar brass for $300.
Alright. I'll move purchase order 1575 to Ben's Uniforms for $300 for uniforms for paramedics.
Second, this isn't as full. Did we order something for them last week too?
We have, yes.
Okay. Any other questions, Denise?
No,
All right, Miles, you're good?
I'm
All right,
good.
all those in favor, purchase order 1575, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right. We're getting off pretty easy.
So far.
So far.
Okay, purchase order 1593 to Ford. It's either gonna be Ford Credit or Pony Ford. I'm not sure which Ford at this point. Authorization for them to order a 2020 Ford Police Interceptor utility. And the first year lease payment will be $11,993.65. The total cost of the vehicle over 3 years, $33,455.
Go ahead and move that.
I'll move purchase order 1593 to Ford for $11,993.65 for the first year lease payment.
I will second that. Answer my own question.
Okay. Is it my question too? Is that the amount on the warrant?
It's less than the
Okay.
warrant.
Yes.
Denise, do you have any questions? The warrant article is for
I do.
13.
What kind of vehicle was it again?
Ford Interceptor,
And what
Explorer,
is that?
the Explorer, the same thing we have now?
It's an Explorer?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
So there's no issues about transferring cage and all that then?
Some of it we transfer and some of it can't, so.
Okay. Alrighty, any other questions?
No,
Miles? Oh, all right.
Good.
Purchase order 1593 has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Glad you're going to good comments. Not that I make any money off of them, but it's all about my car. They're wonderful to deal with.
And the last time have you folks had a chance to discuss my salary proposals for the staff?
Miles and I have, Denise has not had an opportunity to have a conversation with us yet. So we were hoping that we would be able to have that conversation and then act on it. So.
That's fine,
But we haven't been together as a group yet to talk about it, so.
that's fine. That's all that I have for you, anything for me?
We're good. Denise, anything?
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. All right, well, you got out quick, I guess, then, like you wanted. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
George, come on up. George passed because he had a lot of stuff to discuss with us, Denise, so.
Oh, no.
Relax, it's easy.
All right.
I don't know if you want to do it individually or separately. There's a power saw and a power broom that we want to purchase from Brentwood Machine and Power Equipment. Knocking $100 off each unit for this.
Are they separate warrant articles, or are they, I mean,
No, it was
separate,
under equipment.
I meant separate purchase orders, or?
No,
are
I
they-
did one PO.
Then we'll do them together.
Okay. PO number 1606 out of the equipment fund for Brentwood Power Equipment for one Echo 12-inch chainsaw, smaller saw to handle, you know, some trimming off instead of,
Uh-huh.
and that's for $331.49, along with an Echo power head and paddle broom, which is a power broom, for $526.98, for a total of $858.47.
All right, I'll move purchase order 1606 to Brentwood Power Equipment for $858.47 for a chainsaw and a power broom.
I will second it, I'm gonna, okay, I'll let other people ask questions first, and I'll ask my questions. I know what a chainsaw does, but Denise,
I
do you
don't know
have?
what a power broom is.
Thank goodness, Denise asked it and I didn't have to. What does a power broom do for us?
Say, power broom is used when we do we push the sidewalks and stuff off instead of just using a backpack blower. I mean, we use a backpack blower.
Yeah.
And then when the sand's in on the grass and stuff, it's easy to push the sand out of the grass after it's, after winters and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
On all the locations that we have, like the parks and stuff. Get the sand and stuff off. The
Right.
power brooms are used a lot of times, instead of hand.
I got you, okay. I'm almost there. So explain, you know what, I might be good. You have to excuse me for a moment.
The other
I'm
thing
gonna break
about,
a rule and use my phone.
before we go too far with the power room, that power head for that, we can add a,
That's why, no.
trim saw and several other options on that same power head. The power head's a separate unit, but it's part of, to get the broom, you gotta have the power head.
So you can add attachments, other attachments to the head of that?
If we decide to go further with it, yes.
Oh, okay.
Was this one of the pieces of equipment that was in your,
That was one that we talked
Budget.
about. I'm gonna hold off on purchasing the paint machine this year because some of the housing authority has let us, we stored this winter and we can use it again this year until they need it. They don't have much use for it right now, so we can use it for a few
so
years.
during the whole budget process, there was a list of things?
Yeah, that's
This is- okay.
one of the things that we've talked about.
It was, okay, well,
I-
so I'm trying to
I
look
don't know
at
if
what
I
it looks like.
specified it, I didn't know, I
That's what
didn't intend no
changed
picture of
it.
it, I didn't actually, we had talked about one of the items and
Okay,
I think it's also called a power rake.
oh, right, okay,
Yeah. I know what you-
all right,
yeah, it's a rubber paddle wheel that goes on the end of it, like a weed whacker.
okay, that's
And,
helpful.
but then you can add, hedge trimmers or,
Okay,
tree, extend.
so it won't just be a power broom, it can,
And we have to buy the other options.
I understand that, but it could
Yeah.
be used for
Oh,
other
yeah, it's
things.
used for several items.
Alrighty,
You asked for prices on,
hold on, we haven't gotten this far yet, George, hold on. Denise, do you have any other questions?
No, I'm not done.
Miles?
Nope, good.
So it was one of the items you had budgeted for? All right. Purchase order 1606 has been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right. You get this?
Yes, I'll take it.
dog signs.
Dog signs, yay.
I don't know if that's what you want to use, that's just one that was handed to me, that's with the New Hampshire RSA on it.
Pursuant to the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services rules, a pet owner shall be required to pick up and properly dispose of their pet's waste. Any DH rule, blah, 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 in accordance with RSA 485:24. Okay. What are the, trying to remember what the signs say now. Do they reference the statute and Rollins for the ordinance?
I don't know, I didn't even look at the sign, that was handed to me, I don't,
Oh.
we can have anything made the way
Yeah,
we want.
this is from the town of Amherst,
Oh, okay.
I think is what Paul said.
Oh, okay.
We got Paul Casal.
It came through stormwater
Oh, right, yeah.
because it has the RSA
Yeah,
listed.
sure.
It makes us more compliant with, it's a better thing to list with EPA
Then our.
in our
local
efforts
ordinance.
than having just a local ordinance.
All right, well,
May I see this?
if it gets us credit with EPA towards our permit, this will count toward that long checklist of things we have
Yes.
to.
Yes.
All right.
It's a little wordy, but I guess this
It's
is
very
what you
wordy. Can we,
Get the,
I mean, I just wanted, I got prices on it, just so we have
Okay.
some.
how much are they, George?
$31 a piece, if you buy 5 or more, you're down to 25. 12 is down to 19, and then the order to 25, you're at 16.45 a piece, so.
And where were we thinking, we need one on on all the streets in the village? Well, there's a couple out already, so Front Street has one, right?
You would
Cross.
wanna hit the park,
In the park,
by the overpass.
yeah, and the park,
And there may be one there already, but it apparently isn't,
And having
you know,
a
yeah.
signpost.
I'm not sure where they all are.
Right.
but-
I don't
I
remember
read the
either.
price on the side.
There's a couple in the village.
But talk about, so.
There's one on, by the vet, we bought them, originally. But we would probably want one on Third and Fourth. The park, if there isn't one there, so that's already 3. But what's in the sign, what's in the sign account for this year?
Oh, it's coming out of my sign budget.
Yeah, it's probably coming out of the sign budget, George. We're gonna use the sign
Don't need
budget
any
for
of that.
We're gonna use the sign budget for signs. monumental change in this town, George, it usually gets used for everything but signs. At least, not get the signs you want, George, but, let's see.
Yeah, I gotta get a few stop signs.
No, I know, so we're not looking at, how much did you say they were, $50?
31
$31.
a piece, or when you go, if you buy 5 more, they're 25, then if we need 12, then they're 19, so.
Well, I would say we probably need at least 5. But,
I haven't got the shine post price
I think
yet,
it's a
so.
$1,200 budget line.
oh, and you need posts to
It's
report
20,
too.
2,500.
I have a few posts.
Can we not
If I could
affix them
probably
to
have
the
enough.
post that, where there's other signs already, or
We can, in
Is that
certain
not a-
situations,
a good thing, I guess?
depending where
Yeah.
the signs are located, a no parking sign or something like that.
Put it underneath it? That might make sense. Alright, so why don't we do this? We don't need to order them tonight. or
No,
tomorrow.
no, I just brought it up. 'cause
So,
we
no,
got-
no, I'm glad you did, thank you. So what I would suggest is that we look around town, and it doesn't have to be just the village either, there's other streets that
Yeah,
I've
there's
seen
some
people
complaints
complaining
in the
about on
outskirts,
Facebook. So,
But I mean, that's what we're looking at, if that's what you want, we can word it differently, we can, they make them anyway.
sure. I mean, if that passes muster with EPA for the MS4, that might be a good thing to have, that wording. What we can do, Denise, I can't do it, I can't use my phone. I could take a picture and text it to you, but I can't.
that's okay.
I can't because I had to change my password for my phone for work today.
On the email.
I haven't a clue what I changed it to, I didn't write it down, so I can't use my phone.
It is in the email if you search your
I can't.
emails from George. No, but if she searches her
Oh.
emails from George.
There's an email from George apparently with it in there, so I apologize, George, for not seeing it, but.
I think there was one in there, if not, I can send it tomorrow.
Okay, all right. What I was gonna suggest is we can look around town over
Yeah.
the next week or
Make
so,
a
and
informed
make a
decision.
list of where we think there should be signs, where there aren't already. And then we can get back and we can decide how many we really need. I mean, if we don't need 5, we don't order 5, so. And we can look and see if it does make sense for, perhaps it might make more sense to come out of like animal control or something, I don't know. We'll look and see. All right. What else do we have, George? Oh, okay. Any other questions about dog signs? Sorry.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, we brought up at our loss prevention, drug loss meeting,
Yeah.
about possibly replacing lights to save money for the town.
Right.
Well, I've had a survey done from Energy Management Consultants
Okay.
last fall
Yep.
at our building, and he had apparently done a consultant and checked all the buildings in town.
At one at a time, I think he did, right?
Right.
The name is familiar.
There is a program out there that this could be paid for to our electric bill, no cost out of pocket,
Mhm.
and after the program of either 2 to 3 year payback
Yeah.
on your electric bill, and they'll replace all the lights to LED lighting in all the town buildings.
Okay,
He's willing to come in and explain the program,
okay,
him and one of the guys from Public Service.
okay.
He just wants a night availability, he needs one more price for the power from the fire station. And he's gonna look at that building, that's the only building they have a question, they may not because they don't use quite enough power.
Okay.
Oh,
But
to
that's
make it worth
replaced,
it.
yeah, it makes.
So is the idea, I mean, we'll have the presentation from them, but is the idea that they pay for
They come in and do all the work,
all the
nothing,
replacement costs?
that's right, everything.
And our bill doesn't change, so you would see immediate reduction in energy costs because they're,
It's paid for by the savings of the
right.
energy.
But we don't realize the savings until like the first 2 or 3 years are
Right.
over, and that pays for the retrofitting?
Yeah. He
Okay.
says out of the state of New Hampshire, there's probably 3 towns that didn't opt into it.
And I'm guessing we're one of them. because we didn't-
No, it's got, that has been approved, that has had the offer. Apparently, it wasn't always with Eversource paying.
It wasn't, they came in before, I remember this name, and they paid, it was like a loan, wasn't it?
Right.
And we weren't guaranteed, the money, I guess, was like spent in like in the first like week or something.
He
It was
told
waiting
me
list or
last
something,
week,
so.
when I met with him again last week, that there's no money out of pocket, it's done through the electric bills and what you're saving on the
Right.
electric bills.
Well, I mean, if you could save money, I mean, that would be great overall. I mean, even if we don't do, we're gonna spend the same amount of money on electricity over the next 2 or 3 years. No, we'll wait for their presentation, but, I mean,
I mean, I can call him and, as soon as I get to.
I can't tell you when, we don't have, birthdays I use.
I had to reset my phone because I couldn't do that.
Oh, I can't do that, I'd lose everything.
Yeah, I lost everything.
I can't do that.
He said he could come any Monday night if you wanted, you know,
Okay.
we can have him come in earlier or whatever, you know. I don't know how long the presentation is, it shouldn't be, I don't
No,
know.
I'd have just come in the regular meeting and tell them it's 15 minutes, do a presentation, and then
I don't think it'll be that, you know.
hopefully, if they can't do it within 15 minutes, then,
Can I ask a favor?
of course, Denise.
If you could just put it out like 3 to 4 weeks of doing it so I can actually physically be there,
Yeah,
I would appreciate that.
okay.
Yeah, I'm sure he schedule it good, I mean, they get, Eversource gets $70,000 a month to put towards these projects.
You do.
For this year's plans, at least what he told me.
Well, we wanna be in the queue before July 1,
Yeah.
the new state budget.
Yeah, I mean,
comes out.
I should be back in, I'm out for 2 more weeks, and then I should
Okay.
be back the 3rd week if they, you know, if you could work that out, and if I can't, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe they'll-
I don't want to lose an opportunity though.
No, I was just joking that if they get state funding, it could be gone at the end of,
Well, that's,
Here,
it could be.
so,
It looks like it could be a significant savings. I
Yeah,
see-
no,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
read through that today and it's awesome. Like, we essentially, it won't be free electricity after 2.5 years, but
oh, it'll be much reduced.
Yeah.
The LED lights use a lot
Yeah.
less energy, so. Now, will they, well, I guess for Eversource, but maybe have them prepared to talk about, George, the streetlights? Are the streetlights included in that, or is it just
That
the
wasn't
building?
streetlights. Oh, I thought Bob said they had changed the streetlights in town, they're not changed.
no.
No, we're not LED.
So,
That would be
and I'm
great.
sure that
We've
the
talked
same-
about it in the
same
past,
crew is, probably could talk, I can mention.
Yeah, well, no, we talked about this during budget season, the last couple of years, it's like,
I don't know if it would qualify for the same kind of program because it's not a facility.
probably
it's
not,
out
no, but it
there,
was like 70,000 or something, wasn't it? or
It's a
more?
2 to 2.5 year ROI.
But to retrofit, but the return on investment is very quick, so,
They
but,
did some of them, they would change their lights in 5 minutes apiece.
Wow.
yeah,
I
probably,
was shocked,
yeah. But
because they use the
But-
same post, it's just a matter, just change the head.
if the deal really is that they pay for the retrofitting, and we just pay the same price we're paying now for our electricity use over the next 2 or 3 years,
It's a no-brainer. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and that's
you're gonna
what-
be paying that rate anyways,
That's what he said, and they come
And
in,
then-
they pay the, you know, they come in, they do the work, they have the company come in and do the work, they, nothing out of pocket, he said.
Mhm.
It's all through the electric bills.
right, you just pay the normal rate that you're paying now. Well, we hear the presentation, so if you can see if they can come in at the end of April, if it makes sense, we do it, if it doesn't, we don't.
I'll get on the line with them tomorrow and see what we can do.
Awesome. Denise, do you have any other questions about that?
No, that's it, thank you.
Yeah, all right. Miles? Sorry.
No, good, thank you.
Looking at you, I'm forgetting your name, sorry. Okay, George, what else you got for
I'm
us?
still waiting on a few prices for the road
For roads?
projects.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're interested, I got some prices and some very good prices.
Okay,
Pike come in today,
Oh,
with
good.
pricing,
good.
and actually, right now, Pike would be the one I would use, but,
Okay,
both projects combined would be finish Heritage
yeah,
and do Sligo from Bear Road
yeah.
to Pinch Hill.
Oh, wow, okay. A lot longer than we thought, okay.
Right. Their recommendation would be, we could hold off on Heritage and do that stretch of Pinch Hill. I mean, all the way to Pinch Hill, because the equipment's already there. And it's a lot easier to do, get
Yeah.
everything done at one
Say
time.
that again, George, they can do what now?
They could do, they recommend that we do that as a one from Barry Road to Pinch Hill
Yeah,
and hold off on Heritage one more year. However, I think I looked at the numbers today. I haven't looked at my, because I got it after work, I haven't looked in my book about what we have for gravel and stuff like that.
mhm,
And I haven't figured out exactly what the culverts would cost, because we have to replace the culverts that are on that road.
on Sligo,
Yeah.
yeah,
Now, there is 10,000 in new
culverts,
culvert fund, right?
I believe.
Culverts are
that's what
not
it
that
was.
expensive if we're doing them ourselves, so. But we have other things that we have to look at in town, like some other culverts, so that's
Yeah.
the only concern I have.
Typically with the money, well, it doesn't have to be, but the culvert fund was typically for much, yeah, 10,000. It was for large larger projects, but I mean, as long as it's a culvert.
I'm waiting a call back from Aaron. He's checking to see if we need permits just to shore up that banking down by the big culvert.
Oh, by the.
I had a guy look at it last week and he's gonna have me some numbers,
Okay.
and hopefully we can do all this at one project.
Uh-huh.
But both projects, Pike's price are under the 350,000, that's why,
That we have, so we could do both then.
right, but then you're taking away from, money we're gonna need to fix some of the other things, like the culverts and ditching. So
Okay.
that's what I'm concerned about more than anything, until we get, I figure out exactly what we need for culverts and.
So let's talk about not finishing Heritage for a moment, just so I understand. There's a binder coat down now,
On that new section,
just on the new side.
and all they're gonna do over there is shim and overlay, he said, because it's not a heavy traffic road, the road,
Right.
and it's not in that bad a shape, they can shim and overlay, and he's talking about putting in, well, actually, not on that project, that's a shim and overlay, and that's for. if
For
he
the
did-
rest of
Oh,
Heritage
God.
and.
That finishes that project,
Okay,
and that's, and he had a price of, he put it in at the 133, but he said we can deduct the gravel, them doing the gravel work like we did on the shoulders, we'll do them ourselves,
yeah,
and the police duties, we handle the flagging, so that takes out
Right.
15.5. So he
Right.
could do that project for about 121,
okay,
and then doing it, Sligo Road is 214. 219, 525, so a total of 341, 250 for both projects.
okay,
But that's not counting, figuring out what it's gonna cost, because to do all the ditch work that we have to do down there, we're better off to rent a machine for, it's $3,200 for a month to rent an excavator, a small excavator, which is not a bad price. But the backhoe, you'd be there for 3 months just trying to do it, and they wanna try to get, these prices are good to get started, they wanna get work started early, and we can be done with it by June.
mm-hmm,
Like last year, tried to get the roads done early because they're looking for work,
right,
and our money's already there.
right,
But I'm waiting on one more price on
okay,
the roads and see if it's any better. I
okay,
mean, I had Brock's look at it, and then Brock's is higher.
right.
Continental has not come back with a price, and they probably don't wanna deal with just a small amount of work.
And then they're too busy paving with the state.
But Libby Scott's gonna look at it this week, and I don't know if if anyone's opposed to that, but I mean, it's worth, I think it's worth having some pricing to look
Sure.
at.
Yeah,
So they're gonna come in and we're gonna assess those two projects on Wednesday and we'll
Okay.
have some numbers, so I just wanted to see where I was at.
sure,
But my thought would be to do Sligo Road.
It's in disastrous condition. I just drove down it to get here, and it's
I
bad.
mean,
So that's a
I was
full
shocked at
reclamation.
that's a full reclamation, adding gravel, the whole 9 yards. And they're putting 2.5 inch of base on that road, not just a normal 2.
okay.
So,
All right, so we'll have more information for next week,
Right.
though?
hopefully have more for next week, and,
Think about
and I'll
that.
try to get, I'll try to figure out each culvert, the price, what it would cost us to put the culverts in. I
Right.
got pricing on culverts, on the different sizes.
So we don't run any risk then, George, I mean, it's just the binder on that new section, we don't run any risk of it going another year without having the
No,
top
they
coat on
said,
it?
they, just like Woods Run, they said, if you do the second coat within 2 to 3 years,
Yeah,
you should be fine. And
okay,
Woods Run has not moved, and it hasn't moved, up by you, it
Yeah.
hasn't moved at all. And they were happy to see that stay
Right,
the way it
right.
was.
okay,
I mean, yeah, I know that wasn't the original plan, was to finish these other
right,
projects.
right, right.
Sligo Road is deteriorated so bad in the last year and a half, since I've been here, it's.
So we'll think about it for another week, we'll get more information next week, but this, this spring, early summer, I'd like to look at the road plan again and make revisions, so we're ready for budget season, which will
Right.
soon be upon us again, so.
I mean, we're gonna definitely have to look at, if we don't compare it, we definitely have to look at top coating, Woods Run and stuff next year, and we could do Sligo at the same time while everything's in one location.
Right.
And those projects will be done, if we get everything done this year, we'll be that far ahead.
Can I have a point of clarification information?
Of course.
Okay, so was there a warrant article, I'm sorry, I don't remember, identifying the roads that were gonna be done that was voted on this in March?
No, it was not a warrant article.
There wasn't a warrant article?
It was in the
about paving?
operating
It's
budget.
in the operating budget now.
Okay, but there wasn't a warrant article? And
No.
nothing identified what roads we were gonna do when we proposed to to the town?
We did discuss at the deliberative session, I think, as part of the budget, as what roads we were hoping to what we were hoping to accomplish with the budget that we were asking to be approved. Yes, that is true.
Okay,
It is also my concern, so I'm a little sheepish because I live in front of part of the road that was done. And I did recuse myself from, I didn't live there then, yeah, so we've got something to think about. We got some things to think about, Denise, I think, before we
yeah,
make a decision.
I know it's terrible, but, you know,
It
and
is.
also if we committed to doing something,
I agree, yeah.
but there's always, I mean, we always have the right to change our plan.
But if what George is saying, we may be able to do both. I mean, which would be incredible if we could get both of those things accomplished this year.
So we get the gravel budget.
But, well, I'm looking to see how much we have in the gravel budget at the moment, Denise. Hold on.
Okay, all right.
Let's see. Miles is gonna find it before I do.
It's a race.
It's a race. A race to the bottom, let's see. No, let's not.
Line 192.
Well, I think you're finding it before.
Sand and gravel. 6,500.
$5,500, George. A lot of sand and gravel. Maybe not. Maybe it's not actually, but. All right, so something to think about.
Okay.
Is the chip coating that Ed talks to us about?
That would not work on any of our projects this year, but we have to talk about that on the Foundry Street, your Bear Road and stuff like that. That's a preventive maintenance.
Oh, okay.
It was, I was hoping that there was some roads in town, he said the roads are so beyond the chip coating, chip sealing to save them.
Oh.
So we decided, you know, but he did say that we wanna look at those other roads that have been paved in the last 2 or 3 years, 4 years, that it's a preventive maintenance thing more than anything.
So it's not a final coat? You wouldn't use it as a,
You can't
as
use
a-
it as a top
Oh,
coat,
okay.
no. I mean, he
I thought
said,
that's what I heard.
well, that's, if the road base was in good enough shape,
Oh, okay.
you know, you still wanna be putting in an inch and a half hot. The problem is they reduced a lot of it to an inch when they were doing top coating before, and that's why this delamination problem's been having, because they're putting it down as an inch, but by the time you roll it, it's down to about a half, 3/4 of an inch, and then if your road
Right.
isn't perfect, some places less than that, and that's where your delamination starts. And that's happening everywhere, and that's why they're going back to bringing it up to an inch and a half. They're recommending an inch and a half for your top coats and stuff now, at least get the full inch. And it's a process that they change quite often, I think.
Yeah.
Depends who you talk to and
Costs.
cost.
It
Asphalt
was
is expensive.
driven, in this town, it was driven by cost, so.
Well, no, even your liquid asphalt is, I mean, it goes up considerably.
I just know because we were advised by the former road agent to be thicker. And we said, well, we appreciate your expertise, but we're going down a half an inch, I think. At one, was it Foundry, was it? I think? Or was it
Bear Road, the curve.
Bear. Because it was a significant cost difference, and it was, we wanted to be able to get it done, so. So I guess we'll say mea culpa, but.
I know you guys want to get ready, I mean, with the roads, and I'm wanting to get planned out too, so. Like I said, I get that one more pricing to come back.
Okay,
And then,
so we'll wait till next week and we'll see where we're at, I guess, but
And,
we got some thinking to do then.
yeah, right.
Can I ask one more question?
Of course, I was just gonna ask if you had any more questions.
The problem that we were having on Foundry Street with the,
Yeah, that's all stuff.
deterioration of the road, what, I don't know, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, or maybe longer. And we thought we may have to dig up the road, is that still something that we have to do?
I have, that's what I mean, I gotta get looking underneath and get a camera in that, see if the culverts fail. But it's
It was
frost,
smooth. I just drove down that road
Yeah,
too.
it came right back.
Smooth again?
Yeah.
Or smoother?
General Sullivan smoothed out.
Yeah,
Doesn't
everything's,
sound like I drive around a lot.
it's frost. It was frost.
So,
Yeah.
we don't wanna empty the pot of
No.
money
we don't.
until we know we have to fix that as
Yeah.
well,
Right,
correct?
exactly.
We still got behind the Legion too on the culvert thing.
And there's several other projects too, Denise, that we haven't really talked about tonight.
Okay,
George had just mentioned briefly the culvert dam fiasco behind the Legion.
Yeah.
The dam, maybe not so much with the culvert. We may have to deal with, we will have to deal with it somehow. So there's a lot of other little projects that add up, so
Right.
what he's suggesting may not be possible. Or
Okay.
maybe we do say Heritage waits another year for its final coat and we do the other two. I mean, I don't know yet. I think we need to hear the final numbers from the other company and we think about it some more, but I am cognizant of the fact that we had said that we were hoping to do complete Heritage and Woods Run this year, so
Yeah.
I also cognizant of the fact that priorities shift, and that's why we sit here every Monday night, or almost every Monday night, to talk about them, so, you know?
Okay.
I mean, I can, Chris did not break down Sligo Road, he just did the full length. I can have him split it back to where we want to at Woods Run and go up the hill and see where we get,
Right. I mean, that might be,
and then getting Heritage and that part done.
yeah, that might be a way to go too.
I don't, that may change the cost of the whole.
Right,
you
of
know.
course, right, yeah, and that makes sense.
Well, if you give us the options so we could see
Right.
both ways,
Yep.
that would be helpful.
So we still have the final code on Woods Run to do, right? And was that included with the Sligo Road work? No, that was gonna put that off another year too?
Right, that would be put off. I did get price from Brock's on doing that, and but
Right.
then we started thinking that Sligo is so deteriorated that
It really is.
it's costing us, we can't keep up with it in the wintertime, it's just,
I
it's
can
gravel.
imagine. Yeah. All right, well, we'll
But I wanted to bring those ideas
Appreciate
and
it. take it all under advisement for a
I'll
week.
be going further with, trying to get some other looks at it.
Okay.
Chris should be able to do everything without going, he was supposed to actually break it down originally, and I think he just got it today, he just tried to give me some numbers.
All right, well, I appreciate that.
Go have him break it down.
If you can break it down further, it might be helpful to it. It will be helpful to us, actually, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. All right.
Anything else for us, or?
I don't.
Do we have anything? No, we don't have anything for George. so. All right, well, thank you. You ready for the big snowstorm on Tuesday or Wednesday?
It is April Fool's Day.
It's supposed to be, no, I
No, there is-
can't open my
I
phone,
can't-
but it's supposed to be a high of
I actually did hear
57
say
and
that we
snow.
would have- Yeah,
I don't know when, in the middle of the night probably, but
they said it was gonna be cold enough in the morning, and this storm
Right.
that's coming up the coast,
who knows?
depends if it comes in closer or not.
Who
I'm
knows?
not too concerned about that.
Okay. You'll be ready, I know. Alrighty, any other questions
We're
for
not gonna be
George?
pushing stuff back with the wind, because we won't have any sides of the road left.
Yeah, right. Alright, thanks, George.
All right.
All right, our town administration. So, after the election, the town meeting results via the election, the budget was adopted, and the next one says operating budget. Are we going with the, budget committee's recommended, allocations, or are we following our original plan? Although it can't really be our original plan because the bottom line is a difference of, I think it's $2,600, so. But we can talk about our priorities for, spending priorities for the next several months. This will be, we have salaries, we have the salary request, obviously from the police, we haven't talked about that as a group yet. We have the fire department, original request, versus what the budget committee had been suggesting. What am I forgetting, Caroline? Those are two big ones, right?
Those are the two big ones.
Okay. I know that we had anticipated, and we have budgeted, because we have to, really, for higher rates of usage, not usage, higher types of plans for our insurance that may or may not actually happen now, so given different employees now and their needs. So there may be money that can be moved around there, so it may all be very moot, what we're talking about, but, so there may be enough money to not have to worry about it this year, but we do have to decide how we wanna move forward, because I know like the fire department's in in a new pay period, right, pay
Yes.
quarter. So they need to know what formula or whatever they're supposed to be using, so. And the police clearly, we need to come to a reconciliation there as well, so. Miles, you had, is this your spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Or is Bob? So Denise, do you wanna talk with us tonight with Denise on the phone? Denise, do you have Miles' spreadsheet that he worked on?
I did, I just reviewed it before the meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
I have not, so, it's gonna be all.
So what I did was, I took the spreadsheet that Bob gave us, or took the numbers that Bob gave us. So this block in the middle, it says as proposed by the police chief.
Originally, correct?
Yep,
Yep, thank you.
well, I don't know what you mean by originally. So 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Well, Bob presented two different
$100
plans.
residents to vote on. That was the original, right?
Say that again, Denise, sorry?
Well, what he proposed and what was taken to the ballot, his budget that was voted on at the ballot.
Right, well, that's his second plan.
That's the budget that he has.
Yes, so he presented a budget to the select board,
And the budget committee,
and then he presented a different plan to the budget
Yeah.
committee.
okay.
So,
But it's not what he gave you last week as a proposal. That's something different.
the bottom line, I believe, is the same, but he's now reconfigured how, or has told us how he would like to break that down. And I don't have that spreadsheet, maybe I still do, actually, that spreadsheet in front of me.
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember, it's probably in the other room.
It's not the same, it's a lot more money, what he's proposing now.
yeah.
This one?
Let's go.
Aha, thank you. Let's see, you may be right, Denise, let me just pull it out here, let's see. So. Please. Alright, so full-time salaries, and the approved budget was $262,081. Right? And that's
Yes.
2019 proposed appropriation, and in his, I just lost it now. In the budget that he is proposing, is it this one?
So it's this one.
This one or that one? That's
So this
20.
is as though we're a full year, like everyone had a full year.
Right.
This is what it is because not everyone's getting paid.
So it's
Not everyone's hired
249,
yet.
61 and 70 cents. Let's see here. Okay. So it's his proposal is less than what he went to the budget committee with, but more than what he came to us with.
Where are you seeing 249?
It's in his
Oh, I
Total
see.
expenditures for
But this is-
2019, but it's not
this
for a
is-
full
this
year,
is
so.
incorrect because Melitech wouldn't get 42 because he's not being paid until April. But here or there.
So okay, so that's
The
correct
pay
number?
rates reflect the larger budget amount.
Okay. Interesting, all right. And, okay, so that's what he had proposed, or is proposing now. And his increase that he's asking for, he's not asking for a percentage, he's now asking for an increase as well, Denise, I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
that, okay, he did not ask for
Well,
that
he's
through the
asking
budget.
us to do something, he's not proposing something.
Right, what I'm saying, well, he's asking for a raise that he didn't ask for when we were
He's
working on the
taking
budget,
percentage raise like everyone else, and then he's
No.
asking for a
something additional.
a
Right,
bump up, yes.
right. So, right, we had budgeted for the 2% like every other employee, I believe, right? For the, It's not
Yeah,
separate
the
anymore,
spending
so.
may change
Is
to
it? Yeah.
3.
First line,
Yeah,
maybe of this section.
let me find it, hold on. So they budgeted 53, and what do we have, let's see. Gotta find where he's not listed on here. Where is it?
It has an hourly rate.
Right.
He's not on Miles Street.
No, I didn't put it
Oh,
on.
okay.
Well, we can handle it separately, then it's not on yours. Sorry.
It's line 110,
Yeah, no, I have that here.
okay.
So it's, the proposed the approved appropriation via the town election is 53,321. And what is he, but he's not currently, he's only allowed to work, what is it, 30
30.
hours now by the legislature?
So the 2% on his existing salary
Okay.
is what was approved,
Okay, and that's reflected in this here.
correct.
Okay. But I guess my question is, he's not actually getting paid 53,321, or even the, because that's, he's not actually drawing the entire line down.
He never does,
Right,
no,
that's the point.
because it's drawn from, a good amount is taken from the contract services line.
Okay. All right. All right. All right, so, do you want to walk us through your proposal, Miles, and then we can,
Sure. So if you look
how
at
they
the
differ?
last block, I didn't do anything with the lieutenant, that I kept the same. Hancock also, kept the same. He had,
One of them wants to make
the,
Hancock.
Hancock, okay,
yep,
all right.
the other 3 officers, he's asking for 5.1% raise.
Increase. Yeah,
I think that's aggressive. I mean, the 2 new ones we just hired, I just put 2% on there. So he had like a certain point in time that he had, like partway through the year, he was planning to make these adjustments, so I kind of just went with that.
right,
But with 3, 2, and 2, not 5.1.
okay, right, okay.
So the bottom line is not that much different, his 240 versus, I mean, it's really only like $1,500 difference. But on a full year basis, that number comes out to the 257, it's a lot closer to the number that the select board had budgeted. And then allows us room next year, if we end up with a default budget, to offer some sort of a raise.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead, Denise.
can I give you my 2 cents worth?
Of course.
We're in a process here. If he wanted to give these jumps, or even himself, a jump in pay, that should have been done through the budget cycle. We're really out of process of giving more than what was proposed, or, I don't know. I just think that we're going to set a precedence here. And ideally, I know that his proposal was also, and I don't see it on Miles, but you only did the full-time as Miles?
Yes, yeah, I didn't.
Okay, because he was also looking for a big jump in pay on the part-timers, right?
Great.
And, you know, there was some significant increases. And I just think that I asked him about the specials, the part-timers at budget. And he said that they don't work enough that they would be getting pay increases. And now we're seeing a $2 pay increase recommendation from him. I think it was close to $2.
$3 actually.
Yeah, so it's like, we're under the process. We need to do it at budget time and have it go through budget committee and have it go through public hearings and have people hear this. I'm not opposed to paying our police officers more money if they do think that we're on the low end of the scale. I just want it done in the right process. And also, my major concern is if we do give them a bump in pay that isn't what is in the budget line that was submitted under the SB2 law, we're going to have to take that away if we go default next year.
If we don't have the money to cover it, yeah.
Well, you can't take it away.
No,
You can't take it away.
They just strapped it in
Right.
another way.
But the budget that was approved at the election, and that isn't going to contain those increases.
Yeah, but
Carolyn, am I right?
I think we wouldn't be taking their salary away from them, we'd have to make cuts in other places, right? We wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, you can't cut their salaries, but you'd have to take cuts in other places. So in the full-time line, you'd be okay because that was the approved budget amount. But you're right about part-time police and
Yeah.
for his salary, if you're gonna go over those lines.
Or Bob, if we gave him
Yes,
I don't know what the word, I'm sorry, I can't
a
think
market
right now.
increase, yeah.
Market adjustment.
I don't, but market adjustment, you would be able to give that to him on a default budget next year, right?
Not without taking it from somewhere else, correct.
There's somewhere else in the police department, right?
It's up to the board where it would come from. It could come from any other part, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just concerned about going out of process, I guess. I mean, we have a format of how to do budgeting, and I think that doing some of what he asked for isn't part of that.
I will tell you in the past, the chief of police has come in and asked for market adjustments from the select board, and the select board has honored those agreements, or those requests. He didn't do that this time. We had a discussion with him about what we were proposing, and then, without discussing it with the select board, he decided to go to the budget committee and present a different budget, so.
Correct? I was there.
I mean, that's not typically how we do things, and not typically how he's done things in the past. So, it's a little concerning, I guess, but, okay, so what I'm hearing from you, Denise, is that you're concerned about the process, and that if he wanted market increases, he should have gone the regular route, is what you're saying?
I said he should have gone through the budget process.
Right, that's what I'm saying,
In
sorry,
October.
okay.
And I'm not opposed to the sergeant's position being awarded, I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to paying 3% that the budget committee gave the patrol, the
Right.
police department for raises versus our 2%, I'm not opposed to that either.
Okay.
So, but I am opposed to, market adjustments and, increases in the salary lines that, were discussed, and he didn't ask for it back in the budget process.
Right, okay. So, just make sure I understand, so you're okay if we go to 3% across the board for police?
I am.
Okay,
I am.
all right,
Because I do think that they're below the market in
They
the
are.
cancer, and if it's a way of getting them up, I'm okay with that.
okay. I want to make sure I'm clear. All right, so Miles, walk me through then.
So just keep in mind, that these percentages are at most of the way, partway through the year in a lot of cases. It was really hard to figure, like, these percentages are probably more like 1.5 or 1. If you know what I mean. So
Because of where we are in the calendar.
yeah, so if we say 3% and it's all retro 3%, so one of the guys hasn't even started working yet, we're giving him a raise.
Right.
So.
I didn't sign up for that. I didn't mean that, if the guy hasn't started to work for us yet.
Right. So I think we need to be careful about how we say 3%.
I think percentage over the existing pay rate would be more informative than what the percentage of the annual amount, for exactly that reason, because it's not annualized for this year. So I think conceptually, to compare apples to apples, it would be helpful to talk about the percentages over existing rates rather than existing annual salaries, because not everybody's getting the increase for the whole year.
I'm fine with giving them the 3% still, so if we do it I do share concerns though, with awarding a 3% raise to someone who hasn't started yet.
So 3% at these dates that he's prescribed on the far left. I mean, I don't,
Yeah,
these,
Oh, I'm not
these,
looking at his, I was looking at Miles.
yeah, those are,
are they the same?
I don't
Thought
think
they
so.
were.
they are the, yeah,
I think they're the same, right?
yep,
Hold on, no.
I know, it's a wide spreadsheet.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It is, I'm sorry, you're looking at it on the screen, I'm sorry, that's what I have the
The,
paper in front of me, sorry.
yeah,
That's okay, oh, there we go. I just wasn't for, oh, I see, gotcha. All right,
what I'm saying is, we can't do it for the, well, we can do whatever we want, but, doing it for the whole year has a much larger impact,
Mhm,
on the full amount.
mhm. Well, he wanted it, he's not suggesting retroactive for the entire year though, right, for everybody?
He's not, no.
So,
I don't think that's necessarily intentional.
Yeah, look at his letter. He's got on there.
He's got some of it, I remember, that he's got certain dates for certain positions.
Yep.
But for the other people, who are not new, I'm not sure that he doesn't intend for, you know, one of those is a position change, but the one that's not, I'm not sure that there's not retro in that.
oh, I bet he's going from January 1.
That's what I would think.
that's not
Yeah, I would
clear
think
though.
so as well.
Yeah, I don't think that he,
Expectation, I think that's something that you just don't even think you have to ask, because we've always gone back to January 1st. Right?
yes,
I
Yeah,
would agree with that, I'm just, but I'm looking at his
yeah.
proposal and that's not clear, so.
Mhm. It might have been a miss
Mm.
on his part.
Right.
Well,
All right, so what we should do then, I would suggest, is that we recalculate for our, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 officers, and then we need to decide about the 5th. It hasn't started yet. Well, I just signed his papers tonight. Are we, so for the lieutenant, the soon-to-be sergeant, and the 2 patrol officers, a 3% that was agreed to, that was awarded by the budget committee
mhm.
through their process and endorsed by the voters. It seems to make sense to give them that. So we need to recalculate what that means back to January, retroactive January 1, to be fair to them. I don't think it's fair to start today.
Yeah, I mean, some of them.
And it should be
aren't till
consistent.
August, yeah, I don't.
It should be consistent for all of them, not just.
well, is it because they're new that he's not gonna start that, you know, for 6 months? Like maybe that part, I think that might be, since he added specific dates, I think that's probably intentional. I think it
Oh,
was
it's
just an
definitely
oversight
intentional.
that, you know, the other positions that have been long-standing, that he didn't include that.
Well, we can have him back on, we weren't prepared to talk about it tonight because we haven't, as a group, talked about it.
Right.
So we can have him back on Monday next week and we can get some more definitive answers from him. But, I think it's clear that we conceptually agree that it should be retroactive to January 1 for the officers, right? And we're not gonna make them start April 1st. We're gonna give them back there. Are we gonna do that? I mean,
Yep,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you have like Brooks that didn't start until 2/4, right?
right.
right.
So he's not gonna go back to January 1.
No, not at all,
Yeah,
right.
that's
And that
right.
makes sense. That makes
So
sense.
you're only talking about the
So is it just Brooks then?
3.
So it really is just Brooks, okay, I see what you're saying now. I got you now, all right. All right, now that makes a little more sense, actually, thank you, Denise,
Mhm.
for that clarity. That makes a lot more sense, actually. You didn't work here, why would you give him a raise back to when you didn't work here?
Right.
Well, I always add up exact hours that have been worked, since they are hourly employees. They
Right.
get, you know, retro pay is exactly the hours you've worked times
You work.
the difference in pay,
Right.
and there's overtime, and there's detail, it's 3 different
Right,
pay rates.
okay.
Mhm.
All right, well, can we figure that out then for next week, what it will mean for these four, the top four?
Yes.
And then.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah, I'll update this and send it out.
awesome, okay, thank you. All right, any other, Denise, do you have any other questions or thoughts on this?
No,
All right, Miles, thank you for putting this together.
You're welcome.
I may be more confused than I was when I came in, but I appreciate it.
Well,
That's not your fault.
it was a complex exercise to get,
For sure.
especially because they were split at different points.
Mhm.
And so I had to calculate the hours
So
on
I'm
it.
gonna put that in the middle so I know where that is. Alrighty then, let's move on to other things. Alright, so we never answered our question though. Are we going with what the budget committee suggested for, the bottom line is the bottom line. And it's a $2,600 difference between what we had originally suggested and what they had suggested. I mean, I know I would personally like to see a hybrid of things that they had suggested and things that we had suggested, and see if we can reconfigure some of the lines and make them work. Personally, I'd like to give the police their 3% and see what we can do for the fire department as well, within the existing budget. And if you are all in agreement, seeing if our administrator can make some suggested changes and bring that back to us for next week so we can decide whether or not we're gonna be able to move forward with
Absolutely.
have it in writing. I mean,
Yeah,
that work for, Denise, that work for you?
yep,
So a hybrid approach? All right, well, to muddle things more then, we're not going with one or the other, we're creating our own path, so. All right, budget committee secretary position, I don't see anyone beating down the doors. We had 2 people apply. We offered the job to someone. That person then never showed up for anything, including her, to fill out her paperwork. I'm assuming she doesn't want the job anymore, right? Is that a safe assessment?
It's,
No?
I would think so. It's also safe to say that I would want somebody who would be
Gonna show
reliably
up?
showing up at meetings too,
Right.
so.
And what about the runner-up?
I've not heard back, so I think we're reposting, if that's all right.
Is everyone okay with reposting this?
yep.
Yep.
Okay. We'll let the members know I'll let the members know, I guess, on Wednesday that they're still secretary-less. All right, a tree at the fire station, from what I understand, Mrs. Aikman, who was donated trees in the past, has a location on the fire station grounds by the monument that's there to the right of the station if you're looking at the doors. I guess she's talked to Chief Rutherford about this,
I talked to the chief
You
on
talked
her
to the chief,
behalf, and
and
he's
he's okay with this?
happy to have a
All
tree.
right, so apparently but Mark feels that because it's town property, it's not up to him, it's up to the select board, and he's right. Do we have any, I have a couple of concerns, but do we have any objections
I have no objection to a tree.
to the donation of the tree?
No,
Okay, so my concerns are, it's close to the power lines, so if we're going to allow, I think they're close to the power lines there, if we're going to allow her to plant a tree, we'd use the same caveat we've used in the past, or past boards have used, that it needs to be of a variety that won't interfere with the power lines. And she's well versed in what public service, whatever they're called now, Eversource, suggests for tree plantings near power lines. They have a list of like 4 or 5
They
trees,
do.
right? And she has in the past gone with those guidelines and planted those types of trees by the
Okay.
power lines.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine it would be an issue for her, but, and I say thank you to her for planting a tree, I guess. So we're okay with granting her permission?
Yes.
Denise, are you okay with that? All right,
yep,
all right, so you'll let her know?
I will, thank you.
All right. Bookkeeper, admin assistant job description is in front of us. This was a position that was included in the budget that was adopted by the folks back in March.
So you didn't have this ahead of time to look over it, and you're welcome to have it for a week. I just wanted you to have it in writing and have something to work with.
Do folks want to take it up now, or do they want a week to process it?
I have it haven't had a chance to read it at all, so.
I haven't either, so I'd like a week, but I
Yeah.
figured if folks really were ready to go, we'd go, but, all right, so we will table that for next week.
Yes.
Hydro FERC license, so, we all received an email, the nice people at, I've forgotten their name, the folks that lease our,
Green Mountain,
is that, what is it called now?
it's Green Mountain,
Green Mountain now, it used to be E&L, right, at one time?
yes.
Okay.
It was.
I remember their old name. So Green Mountain Power has been handling the relicensure with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, right, FERC?
Yes,
There you go. On our behalf, which is great, because it would cost us a lot of money in labor, in legal hours to do this licensing. They have come up with some reviews of what, eel population, right? Some other fish, aquatic species. Anyway, they've done all the required tests that the federal agency requires of them. And they have now presented this in draft form to the select board. It is my recommendation that we forward it on to the Stormwater Committee and the Conservation Commission for their review. And once they're done making comments, we can post it on the town website for anyone else who wants to make comments to us. And we can get back to Green Mountain Energy or Power. When?
April 23rd.
April 23rd, so it's a quick turnaround. So we will give the Conservation Commission and the Stormwater folks this tomorrow and let them have it for 2 weeks. Let us know. And we can post it on our website tomorrow, I guess, for general.
Yes,
And let folks have 2 weeks to respond if they have any comments or questions that we can forward on to the folks at Green Mountain Power. Is that okay, everyone?
Yep.
All right, that's easy enough then. Appointments, so, via the town warrant, we were granted the authority as a board to appoint a tree warden, a fence viewer, parks and rec. Now, in the past, these have been, and I think at least to a certain extent, one of the positions, or as an honorary position, a fence viewer. In the past, we've taken nominations from the floor of town meeting.
Great.
What I would suggest is that we put out a call for interested parties or for nominations via the web, where we can post it to, like at the post office and here, the library. Give folks, I don't know, what seems reasonable, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks to put their name forward or submit a name of someone they think is deserving. We can also reach out, well, at least to a couple of you. One of the folks is no longer with us, so. But to the current folks that are holding, see if there's any interest in there. But I think casting a wide net and asking folks if they want to do it, much like we would have done, or they want to honor someone, like we would have done at town meeting, is an appropriate thing to do personally.
Okay.
Is there any objection to that?
Nope.
All right, so we will let Tia know to put that out and we can post it around town.
yes.
Awesome, all right, well, thank you for that. Space needs and recreation, we have been holding off, Denise, to make these appointments from the select board. I think we already appointed you to the budget committee. If we haven't, we'll do that tonight too. I think we held off because we wanted to see if you actually really wanted to do it. We didn't want to just stick you with it if you weren't interested, but.
Okay.
If you are still interested in serving on the space needs and the rec budget, rather committees, as our ex officios, we'd love to, in the budget, we'd love to have you.
I'm willing to do it.
Okay, so Miles, you wanna make a motion?
Sure. I move we appoint Denise Knowles, sorry.
I haven't gone down.
Right,
No, I
Out of sight, out of
I
mind.
forgot what you look like. As the ex officio, I can do them all at once.
Sure. All three.
To Budget Committee, Space Needs Committee, and the Recreation Committee.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, and Denise, I'm going to fill in for you this Wednesday on the budget committee.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. All right, what else do we have? Certificate of occupancy process. So Mr. Clark has brought to our attention that much like the streamlining the process for, I don't want to talk about budget committee. Building permits, as we've had the B and the U, right? Where it was in zoning, we had to change the zoning. In our zoning, it doesn't say that the select board has to issue the certificate of occupancy,
All references have included the designate now.
or includes, or designee. So, Mr. Clark is suggesting that it would be a quicker process, that if he could sign them. I don't, we rely on his expertise to go out and look at them anyways.
Right.
I mean, I'm not-
Exactly.
we're not going out and looking at these houses, he is. I mean, it would be nice though to get a list, monthly, I guess, of, I would say all the, certificates of occupancy, and I would suggest the building permits too that are issued. I think that would make sense personally.
Yeah.
So we can review them and know what's, you know, obviously know what's going on, so I would like a motion then to allow Mr. Clark to start signing the certificate of occupancy.
All right, I'll make a motion that we allow the building inspector, Tom Clark, to sign certificate of occupancy.
And I will second that. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so Mr. Clark can sign those. He's already signed them. It's just another spot that someone else has to sign. All right, high school, school facilities manager. I'm gonna let the town administrator discuss this one.
So you all have not yet drafted the charge for the newly compiled Space Needs Committee, which has not yet been fully formed. But we know that regardless of that charge, that we need to get an assessment of this building, of what it needs, and what all those needs are gonna cost. We know that the school has now their own CIP for their building, which was created by their facilities director, Dick Fortier. So I am looking to the board to see if you would care to delegate me to go to the next school board meeting and speak with the school board on your behalf, unless one of you would like to do that, and see if we can work out an arrangement by which we can utilize his expertise on this building.
This is something that the chair of the school board has suggested in the past, that he would be willing to come over and volunteer like an hour or two to come through and look, right? It just never happened.
It is something that they have discussed before and that they are willing to work out. It's just about what are the details of that arrangement. and
Clearly, we're not gonna have him for like 4 weeks to come through,
Right,
but I remember them talking about it in concept at least before, so.
yeah, so it's not a new concept for either party, it's just about what are the terms of such an agreement
Sure.
and how much time does he think
It would take.
that would take to do
Right.
and like that.
All right.
And then I can bring that back to the board.
Right.
We have to look, I'm sorry,
No,
Go
go
ahead,
we have
ahead,
to look into it, one way or the other, because we can't go forward with any project until we know that what the building can do. And it's better to have someone who's already familiar with the town, I think, and did the grade school as well, so I support at least contacting them.
I mean, if they're well, go ahead, Mom.
And it's free? I mean,
I don't know
Okay,
that, and
we've gotta
so,
figure
you
it
know,
It
we're
wasn't
not,
in the
That's part
past,
of
so.
part
so
of
we're
the
not
term.
agreeing to any kind of terms beyond free at this
Right.
point. I don't know what what the school board will say. It's just about approaching them with a conversation to see how workable they think it is, and does he
Right.
have time, and would they be, you know, wanting some kind of compensation. I think it depends, I would expect, in how much time he
Right.
expects it to take to assess the building.
Yep,
That's fair.
so he's, in concept, assessing the building and coming up with estimates, or
At least
Michael,
the plan.
at least?
Michael would be like a full assessment of what the deficiencies are and what the costs are per deficiency, and best still, what would be the priority list if we were to make like a 5-year or a 10-year plan
Mhm.
for those things,
Right.
much like he did for the school.
So this way, when we move, as the Space Needs Committee works through its process,
Mhm.
and if they get to a final resolution again, and they want to present a plan, all those questions that popped up at
Yeah.
the public hearing hopefully can be answered. And they kind of say, well, look, we've already looked at this, it makes absolutely no sense for us to do A, or it makes no sense for us to do B, we should be doing C or D, then we have that information, so. I mean, I'm all in favor of you asking the questions. I have no problem with that whatsoever. We may not like the answers, but
No, but it starts with a conversation.
I do,
We'll see where it goes.
remember them offering in the past, a couple of years ago maybe, last year, it was just in concept.
I think
already,
we've all
so-
kind of informally talked about it, it's just
Yeah.
not been formally
Maybe I'm
brushed about.
misremembering, but if you wanna ask them,
Alrighty.
you're okay with that? I'm okay with that.
Great.
Good luck, are they meeting this week?
They met last Thursday night, yeah,
Okay.
so they're, I think they're off cycle, so I think
Alright,
they're 2
so
weeks out.
it was
now.
last week. I was gonna say, good luck with the first meeting back after the election. They had some things to discuss, I think, so,
Mhm.
but you missed that, I guess. Alright. Alrighty then, department head meetings, we have our first one this Friday. I have it, with the department heads. It's just a meeting between myself and the department heads, and I will report back, it's not a public meeting, it's just a department meeting with the results of that conversation on next Monday night for you all.
Great.
Alright. I believe they're all coming, so. Alright, policy review, I would suggest we table all three of them. If that's alright, unless someone has a burning desire to discuss any of these for tonight.
Have they been sent out, is it in my email,
What's that?
these policies? Or no, blackout, right?
What's that? No, we just,
Something or something we're gonna make.
we wanna review the existing policies and see where there are deficiencies or where there needs to be additions made or edits made to them.
Okay.
The current,
Okay, can someone send me that via electronic mail?
I will reshare them with you, but you should be able to find them, search them on the drive, but I will share them with you so they're in your email.
Oh, you don't have to do it, I'll go search, if I need it, I'll call you to send them.
Okay,
Don't, go ahead, I'll attempt, okay?
okay,
That's fine.
And it's not necessarily, Denise, something we're gonna be taking everything up next week, it was just, we started a running tally, because we knew there were deficiencies, in all three. Probably less so in welfare, because we just did those, but there may be, I mean, nothing is perfect for sure, so,
No, but we need to start working on these for sure.
alright.
Thank
You're very welcome. And speaking of welfare, we're going into non-public to deal with personnel at the very end of the meeting, but, do we need to add welfare to that?
No.
We're all good with that, okay. Alrighty,
Awesome.
town administration, board member activities and updates. Miles, what do we got going on?
I can't tell you because I can't look at my phone. I don't think I have anything
Can't
this
either.
week.
Sorry.
No, it's alright.
Oh, that's right, it's done.
Hey.
Well, we would've used my phone, but, you know, I can't unlock it, so,
I don't have any,
Alright.
stormwater's not,
that was the week before.
yeah.
alright, well, I'm
Yep.
sure you're busy. You're gonna work on that. Again, so.
Yes.
Alright, so I've got, budget committee on Wednesday night, and, the, department head meeting on Friday. And I think, although I can't tell you because I can't look, I think there's a Stratford Regional Planning, maybe a TAC meeting, the Transportation, whatever committee. I think also Friday, but I'm not sure, like right after. I think I have to go to Rochester for that, but I can't tell you because I can't look at my phone, so,
Also,
yes?
I went to a
I
recreation,
have nothing.
Well, you do, you need to recover and get better.
I do, but not I am.
Good,
I met with recreation last week,
okay,
and I just wanna plant this seed with the select board. The principal came,
yeah, okay.
and the committee had a nice conversation with the principal about what space was available for the summer.
Okay,
And the gym is going to get its floor completely redone at
Oh.
some point.
okay,
They don't have a date for that yet, he's gonna share the date when they have it. But
okay,
as soon as that's done, they're gonna not have access to the gym for the rest of the summer.
okay,
So they're gonna be in the kindergarten and the corridors near the kindergarten.
okay,
Some people on the committee are not completely comfortable with being limited just to that and not having a
Okay.
second space.
I get that,
Conversations will continue about that.
sure,
Aside from that, there was a lot of conversation about, aside from summer camp, making the school more accessible for recreation programs and
Okay.
possibly having the recreation department take over intramurals. And this is going to be, so the rec committee has a lot of great ideas, and that's really exciting.
Right.
The school will not give out keys though unless there is a consistent, accountable person to give them to.
Right.
Which is understandable, so we have to work that out,
Yeah.
but I just wanna, sort of let you know that the rec committee is going to, we should be working on a 3 or 5 year goal with them in hiring a part-time recreation director, one point of contact for the school who can arrange activities, who can be accountable to the space there,
Okay.
who can manage volunteers that would, not that you'd have a staff doing intramurals, that can still be,
Right.
volunteer, but maybe some, one part-time staff person perhaps that can help
All right.
coordinate those activities and maybe other things like adult volleyball leagues and, movies for seniors or what have you.
Whatever,
So there are a lot of ideas out there and, like any other department, we should be working on a multi-year plan to get there.
Okay.
It was a good conversation.
Thank you for that update.
Mhm.
I'll move to our these. Okay, so what do we have in the folders? Let's see the folder work here.
That is, the paper that Miles is looking at is an update from the 5 or so properties that are being represented by that one firm for an abatement, for
Right.
2017 abatements.
Yeah.
BTLA requires that you try to mediate. Those
Right.
papers affirm that they've tried to mediate and it's been unsuccessful. And so next step is BTLA.
Okay.
So those are just file copies.
Do we don't need to sign anything then?
You don't need to sign anything, it's just a
Perfect.
point of information.
Okay.
Is that it? That's all old
It's
stuff.
just old
Yeah.
stuff.
That's it,
Yeah.
that's new, yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Awesome.
perfect. And we have 3 cemetery plots, deeds to sign this evening. Denise, we'll have you sign them when you come back.
Okay.
All right. But they will be, the first is, for the record, for the, how many lots is it? 4. So it's 4, to, who is this to? The first, it's made up to, the lot name is under Cheeseman, Cheeseman, Cheeseman. And it's for 4 plots, or 4 graves rather, in the amount of, what is it, it's down here somewhere. Right in front of me too. It's not. It's just,
Give me one, it's not the underlined amount in the paragraph above.
no, it just says 4 grave lots in section E.
What about the underlined amount above that?
It's not, that's the name.
Oh, all right.
No,
Interesting.
there is no, whatever, that's the name. Might as well get you to sign it. The next one is, last name is Wiggins, Wiggins, also for 4.
Sounds like you're calling out taste that restaurant.
Right. So, and we have a different plot for the Cheesemans, same spelling, also 4. And that's all we have. There we go. And that's all we have in the folder work.
Yeah. There are no building permits.
Right, I want you to take that off the agenda. Anyways, all right, community input.
I just have a question. I had asked last week about the CIP, and I was wondering if you had any further discussion
No, we haven't.
on doing a committee.
We have not had any discussion outside of the meeting. Let's add it to the agenda for next week though, to discuss it.
I didn't hear what the question was.
What, reforming the CIP committee. We didn't have it on it fell off of our list. for
We're
appointments?
not doing a CIP committee, we're doing it as a board.
I don't think we ever decided that, so.
Caroline?
that wasn't put to a vote, that you all certainly discussed that, but I don't think it was ever really voted on. And so now there's conversation about whether or not the select board has the authority to do that, because it is a planning document under the purview of the planning board by RSA. So we need to revisit the conversation and see what we can do.
Oh, okay, I thought I saw something in writing a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so it's on the agenda
Okay.
for next week now. Anything else? Seeing none, we're going to go into non-public session for deal with a personnel issue. You're all more than welcome to come back, but I'm going home when it's done, so.
I'll move that we go into non-public.
Okay, I will second that. We'll do a roll call. Miles?
Yes.
Denise?
Yes.
Mike, yes. We are in non-public session to deal with a personnel issue. First, I'm gonna run to the bathroom and I will come right back.
Started falling asleep. It's awful.